Welcome back, everybody, to Jacob's Gaming Weekend. As you'll remember, last episode we finished up at the Blarg Station. We've done everything we can here, so now we're going to head over to Blackwater City on planet Rilgar. Yes, it's time for a big catalyst planet, is what I call this one, because a lot of plot threads are going to get tied up here. So I want to relay a story to you guys that happened to me just recently, and I find it fascinating. So for those of you who don't know, I'm 22 years old and I'm in college right now. I would, if I could, just give up college altogether and go into making YouTube videos full time, but, hey, people need to eat. And, I need to still be focusing on getting a proper job before I can think about, trying to make this profitable. But, while I'm in college, I'm taking a creative writing course currently. Just because I like writing, I've written a bunch of stuff for these videos all the time, and I just, wanted to flex that muscle. Because I haven't really written, scripts or sketches in a long, long time, and I kind of wanted to get back into it. So I thought, hey, taking a creative writing class couldn't hurt, could probably help out, get that, part of the brain working again. And something I found... So, the main assignment we had for this class, right, was a short story. We needed to write a 10 to 15-page long short story. And then this would be given out to the whole class. They would read it, and then they would provide feedback in person, right? And they would also write off on these papers what their creative critiques were and everything. So... something I found fascinating was, just as an easy dodge, because I'm not good at coming up with, I'm not a storyteller in that sense. If you look at all the scripts I've written, they're always about, fictionalized versions of me and my friends going through something, right? That's what every script I've ever written, that's what it is. And it's tough for me to really write original characters and original stories. I used to be really fantastic at that, and now I'm not so much. So it's easier for me to write from my headspace, because that's what I know. That's what I'm comfortable with. So I thought, as an easy way of hitting the 10-page requirement for this class, well, why don't I just, write off an abridged version of the story of these videos. Because, I've told this story a lot, and I think it's a fascinating story. I could just, take different pieces of things. Like, the thing I eventually handed in was like an amalgamation of different parts of my life, whether it was this part of the Lazy Players, this part of fan fiction drinking games, this part of Whitmer's Rant, even, for those of you who have been around for a long, long time. And I'm not going to go into the whole story. I'm not going to go into the whole, story of, these videos, because it's out there, it's been told, and I'm quite frankly sick of talking about it. But I did use it, for this one last time as, a sort of, groundwork for the story I wrote. And something I do, is I need to get into a different headspace if I'm performing for this show, or if I'm, delivering something of any value on the show. Because who I am here on this program is not who I am in real life. And who I am when I direct is not who I am in real life. There's a difference between how I act, on a day-to-day basis, and then how I act when I'm creating art, right? And so, I wrote this story as a first-person narration, and I wanted to write it from the headspace of whoever this is, whoever this character is, or whoever director me is. And it's odd that I view that as a separation between who I really am and then who I am when I make YouTube videos. But, I also think that's a good thing, because you kind of want to keep this separate. When I make these YouTube videos, I view it as work. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I think when people would hear me go, oh, YouTube, I do this as a job. To me, it's a job, right? Now, that would sound boring, and that would sound taxing and unhappy, but that's not the case. When I say I view this as a job, I view it as, more along the lines of I'm putting my all into it and I'm giving it hard work and I'm making sure that what comes out is the best quality it can be. You know, instead of putting out junk that I'm not happy with, because I wouldn't want to do that. So I have to get into a different headspace when I do direct. And what was fascinating is that I decided, okay, well, I'm going to write this story from the perspective of this character, who is a different kind of character than me. He's, you know, there's a different headspace I get into when I'm talking about my art or my work, right? So what's this guy got to say?
Ain't no fool your robot. Trade you.
Well, okay.
Ratchet.
I'm kidding. Sorry, he's not for sale. What's a rhino anyway?
Rip ya a new one.
What did you just say to me?
How dare you?
R-Y-N-O. Rip ya a new one.
Why, that's the most powerful missile launcher in the galaxy. I know it's worth a lot of bolts. He must have stolen it from the Blarg.
Stolen? Look, trash can. Did I say's anything about it being hot? You better watch your mouth or I'll...
Wait, don't tell me. Rip you a new one.
Oh, there's a 1,500,000 bolts. 150,000 bolts for the Rhino. How can we ever afford that game-breaking weapon? So anyway. So I wrote this story off, and then it got critiqued by people, and they said, you know, their comments, right? And they wrote off their critiques and handed it back in. And I found it fascinating, because these are people who are reading this story, and they don't know that I do YouTube videos, and they don't know all the experience that I went through and all the things that happened to me, right? And they don't get that, like, this is a different kind of... I'm in a different headspace than me, but it's a veiled version of me who's narrating it. And so, what is fascinating is that then their critiques almost become critiques of my life and my life story. And they start, it's a fascinating, like, a head game, I guess is what you would call it. It's interesting sort of mind games to play on people, because then what they're doing is they're critiquing how I do YouTube videos or how I've lived my life through the means of this story. And I want to read some of their comments off here because I find it fascinating, their view of this character who is a veiled version of me as a director. They don't realize they're commenting on my creative attitude or my direction, but that's what they're commenting on, right? So I want to read some of these off, right? So, he seems like a real stuck-up director who believes he is crazy. This confident, borderline arrogant tone was a great touch for this first-person story. Right? So that's one person's comments. Another person here wrote, his arrogant tone just made it seem like he created something only a genius could think of. So I was surprised by the rejection of his work, which is what happens in the ending. And then this person, this is the third comment, this is the last one I read off, right? Wrote, his enthusiasm, strong ambition, and his will to push for his dreams are especially endearing to his character. Although there may lie certain aspects of haughtiness and narcissism, I find that these can be greatly overshadowed by the previously mentioned redeeming qualities. You can honestly see the creative spark in his soul as he gives nearly his soul to his work and project, and laughs in the face of adversity. Even when his ideas are directly and flat out rejected, he doesn't quit. And this, I feel, is one of the most important qualities of not only the main character, but a great one. Their passion and ambitions and dreams help push the story forward. So, if you're... hopefully what you're taking away from that is that the common view of director me, or whoever I was narrating as, the common view of these people was that I am arrogant. And there's an arrogance about me and my view of my work, which, you know, is either a positive or negative. But there is inherently, you know, some aspects of narcissism and arrogance to the way I direct and the way I work, right? Now, in the end, it'll be up to me to decide how I... Oh, bugger. Oh, I'm back here? Holy cow, okay. So, in the end, it'll be up to me to decide how I want to take that. And if I want to choose to be offended by that, or if I want to, try to improve as a person based off of those critiques, right? Now, here's the thing. I think that it's fascinating to be told that I have the tendency to be arrogant, because I don't view myself as arrogant or, any of those things. I definitely don't view myself as a narcissist, because I hate myself, I think Jaden Animations did a video about what is the difference between narcissism and, anxiety and all those things. And I identify more of anxiety than I do with narcissism. But that being said, what I find fascinating about it is the way they're like, well, he's arrogant, and, this is either his downfall or it's his driving ambition, but there's an arrogance and narcissism to his work, right? Now, here's the thing. While I think humility is a very admirable quality, and people should try to, practice that throughout their lives, I do think if you are going to be a creative, and if you're going to put yourself out there and lay your soul on the line because you are creating something of which you are expecting other people to judge it anyway, and you are saying, here is, my soul, I've laid it bare for you on this table, and, it is up to you to judge it and do what you will with it, right? If you are going to do that, you need to have some level of arrogance, because it can become very difficult to judge or to become objective from your own work and say, well, this is good or this is not good or anything like that. It's tough to really get a gauge on what you view as your own strengths as a creative. And I would suggest as well that arrogance in creativity is important, because you need to be able to remain true to your beliefs and your ideals as who you are as a creative. I think it's too easy to, humility and humbleness is a great quality, and I try to live that way and have those traits, when I am in life. But, that being said, I think there is a potential failing there, and that failing would be allowing yourself to become so humble and so, free of ego, that then it's easy for you to immediately dismiss your own work as something less. And I don't think that that's healthy. I think that, I don't believe that it creates, very inspiring work either. I think it, means that you're a nice human being. But you need to be able to have the confidence and belief in yourself to be willing to be arrogant and say, here's what I view of as the strengths of my work and the strengths of my craft as a creative. And I hope that moral makes sense as I try to relay it while I play a video game. But I do think that it's an important, I think it's worth discussing. That's I guess what I'll say. I think it's worthy of discussion because, because it's so easy to immediately dismiss the things you create as something not really worthy of, being viewed of as something great. And, I will say this. I'm not a fan of myself. I don't think I'm entertaining. I don't think that I'm a very easy person to get along with. I think I'm, pretty insecure about a lot of things, and that is, probably to my detriment a lot of the time. But I also do feel that I think that the work that I make on YouTube and the things that I create are brilliant. And I think that, this is, this show here has the potential to be one of the best shows ever made on YouTube, right? Is that narcissistic and is that arrogant? Yeah, it is, but, that's what is going to make this that, I think it was John Lennon who said, when I was a Beatle, I thought we were the best group in the goddamn world. And believing that is what made us what we were. And I agree. I think that what fosters greatness is belief in oneself. So I, can be, very humble about a great deal many things, but I will, be unafraid to be arrogant about my work on YouTube because that is what's going to make it good. I just feel that is, how it works. And, you can take away from that what you will. Do you view that as a true statement? Do you view that as, an easy excuse of arrogance? It can be either one. But I think that is really a quality worth having. Okay, and now with that finally being said, after my post-commentary and everything, it's time to discuss Ratchet and Clank, which I have been pretty bad at recently. But in my defense, I've been trying to speak on what I think of as, thought-provoking issues. And I don't think enough people do that in Let's Plays. And I know why they don't do that, because it's incredibly difficult to be thought-provoking and, get philosophical when you're trying to play a video game. This is a difficult thing to do, and I may not have even been doing it very well. Crap. I'm going for the gold bolt because it's there. I might as well, right? If it's just going to be laying out in the open, why aren't I going out and grabbing it? Alright, come on, you can make it. Alright, yeah. There we go. So, alright, let's see if we can zoom over there. We're going to have to go over here now. This is the thing I find tricky, and I know I'm not the only person to have said this, but sometimes it's hard to convey a point during a Let's Play, because the brain wants to focus on playing the game. Or at least mine does. Because there's also... Here's the thing. The trick is either, okay, I focus entirely on my commentary, and I just suck at the game, and then that has a side effect of people watching the video and going, oh my god, just do it correctly. Which I've had. I've watched YouTube people play games that I have played before, and I will be sitting there watching them be good at commentating, but horrible at playing the game. And there comes a time when I will be, sitting there and listening to their commentary and everything, but also thinking, God, just do this. Be, good at the game, and, that's the thing. But now, then the key is that, okay, so now let's say, okay, we're putting all our focus into playing the game. Well, it can become very easy to be distracted by the game, and it's, all those sort of things.
Welcome to the HoverCon Intergalactic Hoverboard Competition.
Hey.
Captain Quark's giving away a brand new Platinum Zoomerator to the winner of this competition.
A platinum zoomerator. Perhaps that will be the proof of your accomplishments that Skid's agent requires.
Wait, do you guys mean Skid McMarks?
Yeah, Skid couldn't make it, so we're here to, fill in for him.
Guess we'll see about that.
Okay, well, let's enter the hoverboard race. Alright, so the hoverboard race. Do I like it? I don't know, honestly. Alright, so that's that. And I'm holding down square, even though I don't know why I'm doing that, because I don't believe we've got the zoom. So, you see that platform there, full of the crates. That is going to be significant next episode. I just want to reiterate that to you all, that it will be a significant part of future events. So, okay, let's try to focus on getting in first. We're currently in third, and that's frustrating. We gotta hit as many boosts as we can. Oh, what was that? Hit the wall? The ledge? Ugh. Okay, well, come on, let's make it. Let's do it. Alright. There. I don't know if I'll make this one. I was too busy focusing on other things. Alright, so that, and this. Alright, grow this out there, and zoom in here. I don't know if I think we may have to do this one again. Because I don't know why my skill is, diluted so much. Okay, well I kind of know why. It's because I'm focusing on commentating. But, let's see it. Oh, there it goes. Alright. It's gonna be most helpful later on down the line. Alright, there we go. Yep. Let's continue. Let's do this again. I don't know why I'm holding down square. I like it. That doesn't do anything. Oh, shoot. Man, why am I bad today? Like, I'm not normally this awful at this game. And yet here I sit, sucking it up really badly. Okay, well, let's try to, redeem ourselves for this. Because, man, is that bad. Alright, hold on. I might do the D-pad, actually. I think that could help out a lot. Or maybe not, that's actually kind of delayed. Honestly, the thing is that you need, the trick to beating this hoverboard race is that you need to be getting every single boost you possibly can. Just every single one. And not, screwing up too badly. And I think that's where I'm finding difficulty, is that I'm not hitting all the boosts. And we're already on lap 3, and I'm in 3rd place. And, my boost is probably going to run out here. Yep. And I missed that ring, so that's going to harm me. Yep, because there goes 4th place. And that's really, yep. Maybe it's because I wanted to talk about that story and everything, because I thought that would be an interesting topic of discussion. And I think it is, but it was tough to really commentate on it and play the game at the same time. So instead I'll talk about how... Sorry, just was frustrated there for a sec. So I guess instead I'll talk about how every racer is Skid McMarks, which I find odd, because they are most definitely all Skid McMarks. And Ratchet said earlier that Skid couldn't make it, but that Skid McMarks are there, and that Skid McMarks up there too. So how many Skid McMarks are there? Are they a whole race of Skid McMarks? Is his species of alien just nothing but a bunch of Skid McMarks type archetypes? What made Skid McMarks so special that he stands out from the other Skid McMarkses of the world? So this is something else that's fascinating that I'm doing, is that now I'm getting good at the game again, and it happens when I'm critiquing plot holes of the game. And this is something very similar happened in the Sly playthrough. Like, that actually was very similar to what happened, because I was doing the Murray racing game on Sly, and it was only when I started critiquing the plot of Mugshot's level that then I got good at the game. And as you see, I stopped critiquing the plot, and now I'm bad at it again. So maybe I should start commenting more on that everyone is Skid McMarks. But I already said that. How can I do this? How can I say words? 3rd place again. This is really bad. And yes, you will sit here and watch all of this. And in reflection, maybe the post-commentary I did should have been during the hoverboard race. But whatever, that's just how it is. Alright, so now we gotta jump, low jump. I'm not gonna go for those ones. I probably should have, though, but whatever. Alright, keep it going. It's like you need to get, if you want any speed to even compete with these people, you need to... Oh, okay, great. So let's just double team it then. Alright, come on. Let's just focus on precision. Steering! Okay, there, we got that. Got that as well. Alright, I'm in 2nd place with Skid McMarks the other. And there. Come on, let's go. And yes!
Hi, folks. Captain Quark here.
Hi, Captain
A
Quark.
distinct pleasure to introduce this year's HoverCon Intergalactic Champion.
I wonder if that character's bust increase is gonna show up in the cutscene. Yep. It's phasing through her arm! It is phasing through her arm. Why is that an exploit you can do in this level? Oh well.
Any other anti-grav device on the market. Well, folks, that's all the time we have. Tonight, remember to set your infobots to the Quark Classic channel for tonight's episode of Dogfight Over Death Canyon, starring yours truly. Thank you and have a Quark-tastic day.
Well, I guess he said it before I could, so yes, that is the end of, and we won the Platinum Zoomerator, which really only means that now...
Since you now have a Zoomerator, you can convert tricks to turbo. Press the square button to use turbo.
Yeah, it means that if you hit L2 and R2, then you get a speed boost. Crunchy. Okay, so actually, we're gonna go off and do... before I actually end the episode off, and I know this is a longer episode than usual, and for that, I'm either sorry or I'm not. I don't know at the moment. Give me some time to think it over. But we're actually gonna start the next mission here, because we're not gonna be finishing it this level. I thought this was gonna be next episode, and then I realized, like, actually, you know what? Next episode would be really, really short in comparison to this really, really long episode if I just stopped it where I'm planning on stopping it. So instead, we're just going to blend the next episode into this one. So, the next mission now is to find Captain Quark. So, to do that, you go over here. Right? And now, swing shot over here. Now, this gives us a chance to use our Hydra Displacer. Something I find fascinating, the levels in Ratchet and Clank and the worlds always seem to be split into two different kinds of challenges. There's platforming challenges where you get to use the gadgets a lot, and then there's the combat missions where you're using your weapons a whole lot. And those sort of make up the two main things that you'll do on a planet. So say, for example, like when we were on planet Iridia earlier, right? There were two missions that you could do, right? And one was you could, like, go and help Skid McMarks, and that was really using the Parositor a lot. And there was also finding Skid's agent, which was using the Parositor or Blaster a lot, depending on what you had. And then there was getting the Trespasser, which you needed to do by using a swing shot. Now, I'm going to use now, at this moment, one of the few times I'll ever use this weapon, because it's barely even a weapon, the Taunter. The Taunter is really lousy, because in normal circumstances, all it would do would just make cartoon sound effects, right? Like that. On the surface, it seems useless, but there is an exploit that makes the Taunter one of the most valuable weapons in the game. And I must give thanks to Nick here, because some people already know what I'm going to do, but the version they know is far difficult and very tricky. So I'm going to show you guys an easier version. If we go in here and use the Taunter at this precise point, if you knock out that wheel and use the Taunter here, you will see bolts have now randomly started to apparate from goodness knows where. And they aren't stopping. It's just a ceaseless, unending stream of bolts. So what is happening here? Now, as some of you already know, Planet Rilgar's map is so big and giant that in order to make it all work, they had to layer different parts of the level on top of each other. So what is happening here is that we are directly underneath a part of the hoverboard track. Specifically, the part of the hoverboard track where that giant wall of crates was. You know, that giant wall of crates which keeps infinitely respawning. Because we're underneath that pile of crates and we're not on the hoverboard, the map is still there and it's still programmed to infinitely respawn crates, but it doesn't know what to do because now we're using the taunter, and part of what the taunter can do is smash crates from a long way away. Which means that the game thinks that we're on the hoverboard and we're on the racetrack and constantly smashing those crates with the hoverboard, thus infinitely respawning them, when in reality, we're standing here in this pipe constantly just getting bolts to spawn into our pack. Now, there are people who already know about this exploit, but what they have done is far more trickier. There is a way to glitch yourself through the wall where you can actually run amongst the hoverboard track. But it's a very tricky thing to do, and you have to have a certain mixture of weapons and gadgets. But you can actually do it right here, right now, this early in the game. And it just helps you infinitely spawn bolts. The problem is that it takes a long time. As you can see, we're only at 1600 right now. And this is a long process. It's not zooming up like 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's going at a pretty, standard pace. So it is a long time. If you want infinite bolts, you're gonna have to be here for a long while. But, in the age of the angry video game nerd, I say just get yourself a wrench, or in my case, some tape, and just tape down the circle button so you're constantly using the taunter, and there you go. And you can just go away for a while, do whatever you want in your day, and it'll just keep on going. So, while we wait for this to hit the infinite bolts counter and go up to however big it can go up to, probably 999.9999 or whatever the number would be, I say that we're just going to call it off here, ladies and gentlemen. So with that said, thank you very much for watching Jacob's Gaming Weekend. Be sure to subscribe, ding the bell to be notified about when new videos come out. Make sure to check out more of the Gaming Weekend and more of Serenade of Caffeine. Smash that like button and share the video with your friends so they can figure out this exploit, and also they can enjoy the fun times we're having here on the show. And I will see all of you whenever this is done. Bye-bye. Be done.